Perfect. My man's looking swole.
I'm feeling full as fuck, man.
Coming on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be good. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bridging the Gap podcast. We're with the man again, Tmcycles. The feedback from the last the feedback from the last podcast was unbelievable, and the backlash was fantastic. I think we reveled in it. I think we enjoyed it. Let's face it. Let's not hide away from the fact that we enjoyed it a little bit. And we ruffled a few feathers, and it was great to see who thought we were talking about them, because so many people messaged me saying, "Oh, you're talking about this guy, you're talking about that guy." I was probably talking about all of them. Let's face it. Like we weren't talking about no one in particular. But yeah, I had message personally from someone saying, "I don't know, we gonna name them out? Should we just name them? Should we do it?" I don't know. So yeah, most of you guys probably know, you're all in the industry. So George Osborne, he messaged me personally, and he said, "It's very, very clear you're talking about me with the whole hoodie thing." I don't really know. Like, I don't actually follow him that much. I don't watch many of his things. So I was a bit confused when he was kind of messaging me about it. So I kind of just asked him, and then he full on ignored me pretty much. So there was no real conversation to be had there. But after going through his photos and his posts and stuff, questionable actions on his case. I don't know about you. I don't know if you want to brush up on it.
They're all a bunch of do naughty cons anyway. So
they won't do shit.
Doesn't matter. So many upset people now. It just doesn't matter. Just chill out. Chill the fuck out. Calm yourself down.
It's a bit like what you're saying on your story yesterday. everyone's reacting to everything. Triggering if you're calling a baby anymore. It's the they be, and like you were saying, like people are being triggered.
Yeah, I know, the world's gone mad.
It's almost like the trend is to get offended by what other people are saying. I don't know, what does that do? Self-fulfillment or something along those lines. I have no idea.
Yeah, I honestly don't get it.
It's crazy. So me and Tom, we had a brief conversation after that, and we kind of in our heads, obviously, this is how it works. We, like me, him, probably until about 22, 23 years old, are like the last age of people who weren't like born surrounded by technology, by Wi-Fi, by laptops, by iPhones. I see 4-year-olds with iPhones and iPads. That shit was nowhere near me until I was 15. I don't even think the iPhone first came out. And I was wondering what your opinion is on, do you think that technology and how pretty much the fundamentals of our life have changed from when we were young to when the kids are young now? Do you think that's going to have an effect later on in terms of social skills, interpersonal skills, and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, huge, man. We're the generation of playing football and toys. And I'm so glad we had that. Yeah. And I'm so glad we've seen the transition between going outside when we were kids and now having the technology. Because in terms of life skills compared to other people, we're far more above those individuals and those younger people. My brother's 16, but even when he was growing up, he was just iPad.
Yeah, that's crazy to see.
He's really quiet. My dad's probably an extrovert, same as me, quite loud, confident.
Yeah.
My brother is just a complete flip of that.
Do you think because of technology?
I think because of technology. I think because the world and the sphere that he's in, his friends are on the social media platforms and not essentially out there talking to new people. So I think it has a massive effect, a huge effect on individuals.
For sure. I think we're in that unique position where we have the advantage over the young people because we weren't submersed in it when we were younger. And we have the advantage over the older people because they just haven't got a fucking clue.
Exactly.
So we're in this kind of cool in between where we can dip in and out of technology when we need it, and dip out of it when we're thinking it's consuming us too much, because we don't have that from born affiliation with technology.
100%.
And I think this whole social media bravado of having this online persona, it completely breaks down social walls and the way that people are talking to people. It's coming over into real life. I see, kids, the whole slander against women is now becoming a trend again, calling them slags and sluts and crazy language again, because they've got this profile that's anonymizing them so they can kind of unleash, and like, you know, the trolls more than anyone, and some of the shit they say is fucking mental.
It is, and it's only going to get individuals down though. Like if my brother were to go and do YouTube now, I think it would really affect him if he had some of the comments that I were to receive. But we're old enough and big enough to brush it off. And it's always an individual with no profile picture and a funny name.
Yeah.
Like that whole trolling thing doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, it's nothing.
And if they want to push it further, they know where I live. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember that one time when you called the troll up. So the YouTube video, fuck, that would kill me.
He still emails me to this day, and I just completely ignore it.
What was that? How did that start?
He is adamant that I should not be training my arms in isolation because it's pointless. He starts sending me videos and sending me studies. I'm like, look, there's no negative effect to isolating your arms. Oh, you should only be training through them from compound movements. So if I do compound movements and isolation work, that's non-existent, doesn't mean. Like, what's going on in your head?
It was crazy.
I just let him. I like adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely I don't know. I'm trying to separate this. So there's like an emotional effect that social media is going to have, a mental effect that social media is going to have, and technology and things. But also, like, I think there's going to be a physical effect. The whole thought process of like staring at a blue light screen. You know, there's I think if you could see Wi-Fi, I think it would probably be pretty. I think especially where you are in London, like, you'd be horrified how much Wi-Fi you could see. I do kind of wonder what kind of effect that will have in 50 years' time on kids' brains, especially like the young developing brain. It must be mental, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, even now, I find myself on my phone a little bit too much, and I have to sort of rein it in.
Yeah,
it's easily done. That's in the sense of like I've got this real need to please people. And I read the book. I can't remember what the book's called. It's about social media, and it was that having this constant need to empty your inbox. And like, I hate seeing notifications.
I'm the same.
Yeah,
I can't have fucking notifications.
I've got to answer this person before I go to bed. So now I've turned off my notifications, so nothing comes through at all. So I'll dip in and out, which is so much better.
Yeah, good idea. So like with your social media following, obviously being like a little bit bigger than the average person on Instagram now, on YouTube and all that kind of stuff, how do you think that you've driven such interaction rates? Because like you've probably got some of the highest interaction rates there are out there. Probably even if you take the big YouTubers and all that kind of stuff, the interaction, the rates are real high. So I was wondering, what do you think you've done differently?
I'm not too. I mean, my engagement compared to individuals that have got like hundreds and hundreds of 50,000s of followers is probably like the same.
Yeah.
I think that just comes down to me being, I hate saying it because it's so cliche, me being real in the sense that I'm someone that appeals to individuals because it's just like he's just a normal person.
Yeah.
Whereas people with huge followings, they don't really bear any relevance to our life. They just have a big following, so we follow them. But whereas me and you, we'll put a post up about training, we'll put a post up about when we're on a night out, we'll put a post up about joking about with our girlfriends or drugs or anything like that. So that's what gets the real engagement going.
Yeah.
The rest of the individuals are just like ghost followers for the you know, they don't really have any connection. Do you know what I mean? And I don't consider them fans or followers. I just consider them like friends. Like they're just
yeah, for sure, supporting each other's journey.
Yeah, everyone's a part of the family. So I think that being quote unquote real, but not having to say you're real. That's the I hate watching. Yeah. But I'm the realest dude about. You know, if you watch my stuff, I'm just real. You don't have to. You shouldn't never. The way you portray yourself on camera and to people, that should determine whether you're real or not. You shouldn't ram it down someone's throat.
You don't need to answer the question for them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm real. Like they start getting. What do you mean I'm not? I am. It's
funny. It's probably social media's biggest insecurity is being real versus not real. I wonder if like the whole getting into Instagram so early in your life, like 7-8 years old, I've seen kids with fucking Instagram, which is crazy. I wonder if that just like teaches kids to, well, not teaches kids, but it doesn't let kids develop their own personality. It doesn't let kids establish who they are. They can kind of be whoever they want to be on this big fantasy land that's up in the cloud. Like that, it's so easy to be whoever you want. And I think I think it's going to cause some detrimental effects to society further on down the line.
I see a lot of people that I speak to on Instagram, and then I meet them in real life and think, God, are you two different people? Whereas I'll just talk about whatever on story, and then I'll be the same in charming because I'm real. But yeah, that and you can be whoever you want to be on social media, and it's a bit like when you go from like sixth form to university, you can reinvent yourself. Like there's loads of people that I follow from my old school that have gone from sixth form to being these real introvert individuals that are really shy, and then now they're in uni, they're like the man, the McGregor walk. I'm thinking this is so funny because I know you're not that person, but fair play to yourself for doing it. Well done.
That's funny. We are sat here like knocking social media, but I do want to say like social media has changed my life for sure. Like it's definitely like it's what we do now, and it's crazy how society has changed with social media. Like it is now one of the, if not the biggest industry there is in the world. 20 years ago it wasn't even here. 15 years ago it wasn't even here. So that's pretty fucking crazy to think about. And easy to lose your head. It is easy to lose your head. So I know we chat shit about these people, but it is so easy to lose their head when they have been like ingrained to think like this, from the day they're born. So it's not like necessarily like hating these people. It's more just like, wake the fuck up. Like, come on, like understand. Like, there's more to this than this. Yeah. Like, there's never any hate. Like, we haven't got the energy to hate. We haven't got the time to hate. It's just all like, it's nothing like that.
But you can see it's creeping in now, isn't it? Because what's happened is me and you did that podcast last week. Now all the individuals will start doing posts about balance.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a lot of people talk about balance this week.
What's happened there? Because last week you was involved in bodybuilding, and now you want to go and chill and have food.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, and a lot of people got butthurt about the whole. And I'd love to hear your opinion and for you to talk about this. Just like have freely and not on like an Instagram post or a story where you're limited. But people going on about the whole mental health issue, that really fucking bothered me because your point was so clear.
Yeah.
There's no disrespect to mental health issues. It's more like respecting them more to not just coin yourself because you feel a bit insecure as a mental health. Like, no, like everyone feels insecure. Everyone's got body issues. Everyone's got mental issues, emotional issues, but coining them like that and then doing the opposite, that was the problem.
Everyone's got I'm fucked up. We're all fucked up.
Exactly.
In the head. Sometimes I leave the door and I'm Tmcycles. Sometimes I leave the door and I'm Pablo Escobar. Sometimes I leave and I'm McGregor. We're all not there, really, are we? Let's face it.
Yeah, for sure.
Put yourself in this bracket of, I suffer from mental health. And then I've seen it a couple of times, and I've seen people put in the comment section, oh, you've been diagnosed. Oh, no, it's self-diagnosed. I mean, you can't self-diagnose yourself. Yeah. It's feeling low. It's feeling incredibly low, and it's feeling, and there's real life depression.
Yeah.
Where you're getting counselled. Like my dad suffers from depression. He's getting counselled at the moment. Doesn't want to take any drugs to help with that. Yeah. He wants to sort it out on a one-to-one level basis like that. But I said it on my story yesterday. It's like not normal to be normal now. You have to. There's something's got to be wrong with you in order to fit into some category that makes people go, yeah, sweet. Whether that's intolerant to food, whether that's being a vegan, whether that's being offended or depressed, it's just spiraling out of control at the moment. Where people my point was not because the individual got upset because I was like, oh, he's using the fact that he may have mental health issue as a way of funneling followers. Yeah. But there's some truth in that. If you haven't been diagnosed with a mental illness, and there's people out there that are suffering that don't have the funding or the needs to get real help, and you're just going, channel's a bit dead at the moment. Mental health, let me push that for a bit. Yeah. You got to be very, very careful. It's that was my point. And like I said in the comment section, my mum's a mental health nurse. She has been dealing with these people for 30 years. My dad suffers from depression. My girlfriend, suffers from anxiety. I know firsthand what these individuals go through. So
that's why I think people they just thought this is just some random kid with no issues in his world. He's living in La La Land. He goes to Ibiza. He has raves. Like no. Like there's real life shit to what we do. Social media is one aspect of our lives, but like we said, our lives began 16 years before social media. So not everything we do is on there. And I remember when I broke up with my ex-girlfriend Sammy, like, people would message me like, are you going to do a post about it? I'm like, fucking hell, mate, what are you talking about? a post about it. Like, no, like I think it is just different ways of thinking now, and it's crazy. Like I can't even put myself in their brain to know how affiliated they are with being on their phone, this device, you know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. It's fucking crazy.
It's like it affects other people's lives, because when I came back from my beefer and said, oh, you know, it's a bit of a shit time with me and Elle in terms of our relationship, well, are you two okay? Is what's happening? Do you need any help? I'm thinking, fuck, I mean, it's nice to hear, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then again, we're probably like very open with what we do on social media, like to a degree of a bit too much sometimes. But maybe we've got to rein ourselves in. But I quite like it. Yeah. I like open, because by not being open, you don't want to catch yourself slipping up. You don't want to be like saying something and then go, oh fuck. Do you know what I mean?
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah.
Everything on the plate all the time. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. It must be crazy, because I know for me, like, people fully invest into my life, and like I know you've been doing this longer, and like obviously your engagement rate's high, so you've got way more people to engage in your life. That feel when someone's like talking about you and Elle or what you've done in the past, and you think, fuck me, like I've never heard of you in my life, and you're just like giving me all this like advice and stuff. It's mental. It really blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
It is crazy. So that's what I want to touch on. I don't want to go on. I do want to talk a bit about bodybuilding, and we can link social media to bodybuilding. Like, social media technology has transformed bodybuilding. Bodybuilding was dead out, absolutely nothing. No one was getting any money from anything. They couldn't monetize anything through anything. To be fair, you're still not making money if you're bodybuilding. You're doing it through social media.
Yeah.
But talking about bodybuilding, like, what are your thoughts on Brion versus Bumstead? Why is Brion winning? I don't know.
I don't know. And I look at his physique at the moment on Instagram. It's a great physique, but then you think there's nothing that's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's very confusing. It's a bit ugly.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit alien-like, but nothing stands out the same as. I mean, I'd even put like Regan up there with them at the moment.
Yeah. What about Wesley? Wesley Visage.
I don't know. I think he's like I think someone summed up quite nicely. He's a Poundland Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I can't remember who said. I think it might be my mate Celso who shared the quote. But again, there's nothing that stands out like Bumstead. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe we fanboy him a bit too hard, but he's just
beautiful.
Yeah, he is. He's a thing of beauty. He really is.
So, do you think he would be on something like Growth?
Yeah, I think he'll be on low dose Growth. I mean, the transitions he's made from the pictures that he put up from when he was a younger guy, I definitely think there'll be some growth. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah.
It's a part of you that really would love for this wave that everyone's so open now.
Yeah.
Of course, Brandon Harding, we all know Brandon Harding. He came out maybe like 2 weeks ago about it.
Yeah.
And he came out, and then I think the day after he messaged me to say, like, let's link up. And for me, it was a bit like I messaged him, and like I full respect to him for coming out and being open about anabolic steroid use. It's not new to us, is it? Let's face it. We all knew.
Yeah.
But my stance was, this is my lane. Do you know what I mean? I've built up what I've built up through being open about anabolic steroid usage. I don't think it's right for you just to come swooping in and go, I'm open about it. Let's do a video together. So I was like, look, full respect to you. Let's just chill out. Because I think it'll be a clash between my fans and his fans, because we've had a little niggle between each other.
Yeah.
I said, full respect to him, crack on, let it chill out for a bit, and then we'll do a little link up in maybe a few months' time or something like that. But I just wish the wave would be, would continue to guys like Chris Bumstead. But even Callum Von Moga mentioned it on a video.
I saw that, yeah.
And then you've got guys like JP and Jordan Peters now, and James Hollingshead, who are just on the forum, just like, boom, I'm taking this.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because you think about, like, when I first started bodybuilding, no one talked about it. It was like under the carpet, hush, hush, hush.
Yeah,
crazy how they just like federations, judges, like super hype. They're just ignoring it, flat out ignoring it.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. So like, what's the deal? Are you gonna take the big leap onto Growth?
Yeah, I want to. I mean, I'll speak to Coach about it, but I'd rather implement it down the line when the off season's getting that much harder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that Growth, from the very brief like research that I've read, it takes a while to kick in? Like, it takes a year or something? Or is that right?
It takes 8. JP's not a fan of it. Like, JP's just openly said, like, I'm not I don't feel that it's had much effect on me at all. So I suppose it's just one of those businesses where you just trial and error for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I've been clued up on because I've never gone into that realm of insulin and growth. But it's something that I want to take in the future. So between now and taking it is when I'll start digging deep and start seeing different.
Same with insulin.
I don't want to touch it.
It sounds fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I know. I know people on it at the moment, and my old training partner, we had to call an ambulance to the gym because of the fluctuations in blood. And it's like I don't know if I'm going to ever get to that stage where I'd require it.
Yeah,
so
that's for the bigger boys, really.
Yeah, even growth. I don't necessarily need to touch growth, but I'd like to run it. I'm quite experimental.
Yeah. Like the medicinal benefits that I've been reading into growth seem like wow, like miracle drug. Like a lot of people that I've talked to are just like, this is like the fountain of youth. 45, 50, when you start hitting them creeks and things, you put it in, you're gonna feel like a baby.
Well, yeah, no, there's older guys down at my gym who aren't necessarily into the bodybuilding lifestyle. They just train for cardiovascular, but they run like really low dose just for like hair, for like libido, for energy, like things like that. And they're like, you wouldn't think they're like mid-50s.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, like, what do you think? Obviously, talking about the drugs here, the pretty strong drugs as well. Do you think they're using something in Q8 that's different than, like, I don't know, higher quality? Maybe they've got a different drug. I read something about they might be using myostatin, which they use in cattle to like keep them growing.
To continue the growth process. It's just the quality of the drug. So a lot of the gear that we use down here for us UK bodybuilders doesn't really essentially come from a pharmaceutical grade, in the sense that it's more than likely underground. Dosaging, we don't know. You could get a vial that's 300 meg per mil. You could get a vial that's 200 meg per mil. So in terms of the variance of actual milligram by milligram dosage, unless you get that stuff checked in a lab, you don't really know what the strength is. You're just going on, let me look at my logbook, of the figures shooting up, is the scale weight going up, how's my condition whilst I'm growing. There are brands here that I like, which are SIS, which are really good. You've got
are these all checkable, so you can kind of like go on, I know that you can put in serial numbers or something.
Yeah, their own website, so you scratch off the barcode and then you put it on their website, and it will come up with a green tick just to stop counterfeit. But then even then, to a certain degree, counterfeit checking isn't going to necessarily determine whether it's like real good gear.
Yeah.
You could still, me and you could set up an anabolic steroid lab, send a load out, but just cut it with a load of bollocks, put a verification code in so these people get it and they're like, oh, I've got a green tick, fantastic. It's not like the be all or end all. It's just a one less sort of worry that people have to feel.
Yeah, for sure. Damn, that's
but in terms of the drugs over there, I presume it's 100%.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. It's probably like they put the best scientist of Arabia in a scientist and not let him leave for about a year until he's got something new out.
And their recovery, I think when it was it Diasha that was out there, they literally wake up, are told to eat, told to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I've heard. They got chaperones. They'll tell them. They'll take them to the gym. From the gym, taxis everywhere. You're not doing anything more than they need to. People loading plates for them, taking the plates off for them.
Really?
Like, yeah. Like I've seen a few videos of Big Ramy training, and like there's a guy just following him around, weight off. Doesn't do anything. He just goes like, machine to machine. I mean, and that's it. That I think that's one thing that like Callum, like our coach, is trying to drill into us, is just managing every single thing that you can. And eking out every single thing. And I can honestly say I've not had results as good as this late in my career, just in terms of maximizing everything. Yeah.
Right. And it's new to me, and it's something that I'm now implementing with my clients, and they're like, "Fuck."
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. It's crazy. And people, gear or no gear, like if you're not maximizing those things, try doing that and just watch the results. It's been 6 weeks. I've had more gains in the last 6 weeks than I've had in like 6 months, and it's been crazy, And it's just been a matter of just doing the things that I was doing anyway, but just little tweaks, 100% done. So, guys, get out there and manage those variables. Sweet, man. So, like, I just want to touch on a few little questions. One guy on Instagram messaged me, Ollie Brock, his name is, and he wants to know what your opinion is on running like a small or a lower dose test cycle. If it's just for like a personal physique goals instead of competing, this would be like after 3-4 years of training, and he would like to know your thoughts on that.
Other individuals may disagree, but I'm in the mindset of, look, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't flirt. Don't teeth on the edge and can I do an anavar cycle because it's not it's like, if you're going to make the jump, make the jump. And I think if an individual hasn't implemented the things that we've been told at the moment by Callum, recovery, nutrient timing, I'd rather an individual go hard down that route, or even thinking about it, because you're a natural bodybuilder and your progression since being with Callum has been ridiculous. And I think everyone else, if they implement the same protocol, would see growth. But I don't think there's any real need, unless you're at a disadvantage with your natural testosterone levels. I just don't see the point. What's the point in putting yourself in a position of possibility of fertility issues and not being able to have a kid, completely fucking up your endocrine system, regardless of the dosage, because shutdown. Yeah. You're shut down. It doesn't matter whether it's X amount of dose or this amount of dose. There's no point having a negative detrimental effect on those factors and not even competing.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to my point of these hardcore bodybuilders that we see in the gym, sleep, motherfucker, you don't even compete.
Yeah.
You have no reason to live like this.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, Ollie, I wouldn't go down the route. You could implement things like testosterone boosters that may have a small advantage, like little stacks like DAA, vitamin D, vitamin E to a certain degree. But whether taking a plunge or not, I'd only do it if you're looking to compete, mate. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. You can get some pretty fucking good results. Just maximizing variables and just eating good and training good, really. It's like if you're doing a lifestyle, I always say if you're doing a lifestyle, you've got way more appeal to balance things, food wise, sleep wise, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then just like a question off that. Say, I don't know, I've been on like some kind of crazy cycle. Something that's, it's too much. I know it's too much, but I'm already in it. I'm already in the thick of it. I come to you for some help. Like, what is the protocol for you to be able to help me come off that crazy high gear? I mean, that's just a question that I've had. Just because I know that a few people messaged when we were talking about gear. So I can't remember what the kid's name is, but he was talking about how he'd had a few people come to him with like crazy high doses, and I get lost in all the fucking terminology, so I was just wondering what that was.
Yeah, sure. And it's never a good idea to go off cold turkey just from a hormonal stance. There's no point. You've seen guys like Lee Priest talk about it. You've seen Dorian Yates talk about it back when he was bodybuilding. He just said, I came off completely and I felt depressed. I felt suicidal. I had a such dip. And there's just no point. So get the thought of going cold turkey out of your head. Depending on what you're on, depending on what dosages you're on, tapering down is always the best route.
Okay.
If it's something like a trenbolone cycle, then tapering that down to a point where so I run testosterone at an incredibly lower ratio to tren. Essentially, test is just there for libido problems and things like that, and to keep us active in the bedroom in that sense. I know Enhanced Athlete and Dr. Scott something, he did a video where it was like a tren only cycle and a deca only cycle.
Oh wow.
Which was, the results were fucking interesting as well. It was really, really good. But it's just about tapering down and then getting to a point where I would go from what you're on, if it's a heavy blast, into a cruise. Like I did a post about me going cold turkey on tren and tapering tren down, and I felt so much better tapering that tren down to a cruise phase where it's just a low dose testosterone, controlling that estrogen. And then what you can do is then you've gone from this heavy blast down to a cruise, to a point where you might get your bloods done and level out for a bit and go back into a blast. All right, go. Bloods are a little bit off. Lipid profile's fucked. Let's go back completely coming off. So it would be blast into cruise. During that time with cruising, if you are coming off, implement something like HCG, human chronic gonadotropin, to get everything to kickstart that recovery again, and then go into Nolvadex and Clomid for a post-cycle therapy. So that would be like a downwards curve for...
Yeah, for sure. If anyone's listening to this, always reach out to a professional or someone who knows what they're talking about if you're in a case like that, because this shit will fuck you up. Like, it will fuck you up if you fuck it up, or if you get fucked up by someone, if that unfortunate event happens, because I've heard about it. It's going to happen again. But if you can realize the problem, reach out, get some expert help, and go from there. Now, you touched on blood tests. Now, obviously, like natural athlete, I don't need to worry too much about blood tests. I do get them done like twice a year, just to make sure I'm in the right frame of everything. Obviously, pushing my body weight high, pushing my body weight low when I'm competing. I do want to know what's going on. But for someone who is enhanced, are you like taking blood tests when you feel something different, or are you taking blood tests like regular intervals throughout the year, or maybe pre-cycle, post-cycle, something like that?
Yeah, so it's a big factor on what you're doing, whether you're blasting and cruising, whether you're cycling on and off. But I'd always get bloods done pre. Because the worst thing to do is you might feel okay, I might feel fine, but you may have an underlying health condition you don't know about. So always get your bloods done and see your markers before. I get my clients to do intra blood work, because estrogen, you may not have the side effects of estrogen, but it can be elevated, and we don't want that. We don't want high estrogen. We don't want the gear almost being wasted. So we want to have a good understanding of where estrogen is at, and then post cycle, I would get it done probably, I tend to say 4 to 6 weeks after post-cycle therapy. There's no point getting it done as soon as you're in post-cycle, because more than likely you're hormonally, you're not going to be in a great position. If you're feeling, I've got clients that have had really, really quick post-cycle therapies and their recovery's been absolutely spot on, in the sense that their testosterone has shot back up. That's because we've really focused on recovery throughout their cycle. So I've had a couple of guys that have done a 10-week testosterone cycle. They've implemented HCG throughout. The test dosage was 300 milligrams per week. We waited 2 weeks, we did our PCT, and after that 4th week, they were like back to normal, and I thought, this is really good.
Yeah.
So I keep a case study of all my clients from a steroid coaching understanding to say, like, this works, this works. I get mine done probably every 3-4 months, just to see where my lipids are at, just to see how my kidneys are getting on and everything. And I don't, even in my blast looks like some guys' cruises. Yeah. Because I really don't push the boundaries for it. For sure. And people are like, you only run like 25 meg of test and 50 meg of training every day. Like, I'm like, yeah, because I don't need to push the layoff between really ramping up that dosage and the potential side effects and the growth is just not, it's just so minuscule. Yeah. There's no point putting myself and my body under this pressure for that teeny little bit more growth with the added huge increase in side effects. So I would say if you're blasting cruising every 3 months, if you're cycling on off, pre, intra, post.
Sweet. Perfect. Now, am I right? I'm assuming I'm right in thinking, because it's the same with everything, that obviously individualization will matter to certain gear. Like, so someone might react to this way to this testosterone ester or testosterone brand versus others. Because I remember I was in JP's forum and I was reading through I was reading through him talking about testosterone and how he had pushed up to like 700 milligrams or 800 milligrams a week, and he was saying, yeah, anything over a gram and and it fucks me up for some reason. And he goes, however, James Hollinshead, he can handle way over a gram, and it put like 1.2, 1.3 grams on. Yeah. And like, I assume that's a case of just like building up over the years, or is he just fucking good at taking testosterone? If that's the thing. A multitude of different factors building up and having that almost pre-workout like mentality of, right, my body's just used to 2 scoops now, I'm gonna have to go for 3. Yeah. Don't push test. I just think all this aromatization is coming from testosterone, and you're having to use more compounds to decrease that testosterone. It's like, just have a low dose test and then go heavier with the other compounds. So yeah, I know a lot of people that can quite happily run a gram of testosterone and be fine. I could never do that. I think the biggest I ran was 700 meg, and I felt awful. Really? I felt lethargic. I felt sick, tired. I just felt like complete shit. I went and donated my bloods that made me feel a little bit better, which is something I really highly recommend for anyone that's taking anabolics is listening to this, is donate blood. Incredibly, just don't tell them that you're on anabolics, because they'll turn you away. And the reasoning is not because
if you say you're anabolics, then the blood you might give to someone is anabolic. Like if someone's in a car crash and you give them your blood, they're going to turn into Hulk. It doesn't work like that. There's only a tiny amount of trace milligrams. It's because of the needle sharing thing and the potential HIV. Because I spoke to someone at the blood bank. So if you are on anabolics, get your bloods done. I get mine done every 3 months. I donate every 3 months. But yeah, I just don't see the reason to push the call.
I mean, yeah, I think the movement of less is more is coming out with everything, really. You know, training, everything. Like less is more. Get the most out of the least that you can do, and then if you need to, build up for sure. I just want to touch a little bit on CBD because I know that you've been using it, and I'm working with a company at the moment. So this is from Abby Mason. She just wants to know, have any of you seen any benefits since introducing CBD? So I'll let you go first because I know that you've recently done it. So if anyone's going to notice the difference, it's you. I've been doing it for a few years. So
yeah. This is probably week 5 on CBD, and I was having the exact same factors, the same foods, the same sleeps with that involved. Because I like the most annoying thing is changing different factors and you don't quite know what's going on. So I'll still have my zinc, my 5-HTP, and I just added in CBD to vape before bed, and I was off.
Yeah.
But the sleep has been really deep, which is especially now because it's really hot as well. It's really uncomfortable. I'm sleeping through most nights. It's really good in terms of a recovery perspective. If I get a little niggle, like on my lower back, I'll have like the bath, the usual foam roll, and I'll add in CBD as well. And I'm adamant this stuff fucking speeds you up. It really does.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I think it's really solid, and I'm looking forward to more research being backed by it. I know Alex Kikell did a study on general population, so it's not the best because it's just people's opinion, but they've seen massive rates. I think they stopped taking pharmaceutical drugs to decrease the pain. Do you know what I mean? I think that was what happened. I'll try and find. You talk about it, and I'll try and find it.
Yeah. So CBD for me, like I've been using CBD. Like I basically smoke weed. So like in the cannabis plant, in the bud, which has THC in, which is the psychoactive part, which is the part that gets you high. There is also CBD, and THC also has pretty similar effects to CBD. So I have been consuming it in one capacity or another for the past like 7 years, 6 years, and then only recently, probably 8 months ago maybe, I started actually supplementing with actual CBD. So not only was I smoking it through my bud, but I was also getting it in tablet form. And I've always noticed the anti-inflammatory properties of cannabis, of CBD, of THC. I've always noticed those, and now that I've started adding in CBD, like I've noticed it even more. I didn't think I would, if I'm honest. I didn't think I would notice the difference that much because I've probably got somewhat of a tolerance, if that's the thing, to it. But more importantly, like I always say this, and I keep saying this. More importantly, my mum has noticed the difference. Like she has been taking it, and let alone the physical effects. So she's 63 years old. You know, she's always played sports. She's got tennis elbow. She's got golfer's elbow. All of that's kind of subsided. Sorry. She had a neck which she was always up. That's come back down. But more importantly, is how she is, and like how she is personally, and she is way more like energetic, bubbly, way less stressed, almost like her blood pressure's come down, and that's the most important thing, is noticing it in my mum. So CBD, like 100% recommend. Quick plug if you want to use it, at Love Hemp UK, Josh 20 for discount. So yeah, love it, absolutely love it. Final question, something super easy. Have you ever had any food intolerances? Or any upsets or something? I think I remember, just like, because I've followed you since like literally 6,000 subscribers. I pretty much know everything you've said in that time. I don't think you've ever mentioned anything with in food intolerances.
I've always been like that as a kid. I've never been a fussy eater. And I think that's where it stems from. I think with
that's a good idea, actually.
Individuals now where they're like sheltering their kids from certain foods, when those individuals, when they grow up and introduce them back, because their body hasn't experienced it, then they're having this, really bad reaction. But I don't like, you get bloated if you eat a lot. Yeah. Tough shit. Like if I have a big meal, I'm a bit bloated, but that's just because I've had 400 grams of 5% chips. Yeah. After I don't know, half an hour, I'm back to normal. So no intolerances, nah.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. It's funny that you described it like that, because it's very much a similar mentality of what we were saying earlier in the podcast about people always having a problem with things. And it's the same with food. It's like, oh no, that's got gluten in. Oh no, that's got dairy in. Oh no, that's not vegan. Well, the reason that you can't eat that stuff and you're having reactions is because you've not been eating it. They say the healthiest kids are the ones that grew up on like farms because they were exposed to all that stuff, the bacteria, you know, all those germs. And anecdotally, like I've always lived in the countryside, so in farmland and all that kind of stuff. I don't really get that ill that much. Touch wood. No. Versus like my city counterparts who I know just always choking up. So I think it would be very similar with food. Obviously, if you're further down into your life, then you're going to have those intolerances. But
yeah, they love the poster, didn't they? The girls are big on it. This is me in the morning. This is me after food. Yeah, no shit.
Of course.
It's just going to happen. That's another way for them to get liked. And the best thing is the comments to the response to go, you go, girl.
Oh my God, babe.
I'm so proud of you for putting that post up.
I saw one the other day. It was a girl in literally just like stood sideways, and she goes, "This is me," and then one with her butt out, and she goes, "This is also me," and I'm just like, "Shit, yeah, fucking melt." Oh God, it winds me up. It winds me up so much. But it is what it is, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on. We're in and out. Lots of topics. See, I got a few topic points. We end up just going sideways and around. So, absolute pleasure to have you on, guys. As always, follow the man, support the journey. We'll do this together. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace. Lovely, Javelin.
Another sick one in the back.
Another one.